I'm going to kick off the second half, and Jasmine had a poem in her set about inspired by working in a cafe, and this is a poem inspired by a youthful job working for Freeman's mail order catalogue, sorting out all the customer queries. It's called The Pregnant Girl. We were young, in jobs we didn't care for, pushing pens for a mail order catalogue. Being young cancelled the distraction of work. She was blonde, pale as a corn meadow. I was the dark wraith inhabiting my body before Fat Elvis moved in. Sparks and electricity flew across the office. The taut chain of attraction commanded the airwaves between us. I took her to the pub one lunchtime. There the agony unfolded. She was pregnant, already committed. I wanted to take her right there. I knew she felt the same. We gazed bleakly at our beers. She offered me a roll-up. Sun streamed through Victorian windows, illuminating dust on shelves and sills. She smiled ruefully, bony fingers tense with the conflicts in her life. She bit her lip until a corner paled against the plush sweet redness of the rest. You should go back, she said. How different things might have been. I could have said, dump the boyfriend, I'll father your baby. But I didn't. I left the moment to recede. I left the past right there. This is a poem about an American artist, or inspired by an American artist called Richard Serra, who does huge sculptures made out of steel mainly, and they are often displayed outdoors because they're so enormous. And Richard started his life in the same trade as his father, which was as a steel worker, so you can see why he maybe chose that medium. The artist does not wish to repeat himself. All his life he has sought answers. Is this structure possible? Will the math work? How far can it lean, stay upright? The artist paces the space, considers possibilities, always returning to the centre he gazes upwards, ponders how far into height he should take the line, rejecting all that has gone before. His father was a steel worker, he too. He has made this metal hard and soft, sensuous and brittle. His language is precise. His commitment doesn't waver by 1/25th of a centimetre. You open the door you can open, not go through the door that's open to you, he says. His giants walk the earth in Paris, America, London. They warm outdoor spaces, exhilarating and intimidating visitors. On some plain where it rains, the metal darkens, hide as sleek as a drowned cat. The steel welcomes the cloud's attention. Bring it on, I'm not going anywhere. My place is with the elemental. Strange things happen in all our lives, and this is an incident which ranks as pretty strange. It's called Sparks with Marks. I returned from Sainsbury's to find Karl Marx is sleeping in my bed. I can't wake him. There he is, lightly snoring, a mug of beer on the bedside table, a half-eaten plate of cheese. Karl, what will the neighbours think? A revolutionary breaking and entering, helping himself while bearing a passing resemblance to Santa. You could at least join me for a bevy and a listen to Oasis' new album. You could help me finish the kitchen, hang out the washing. Karl gets up. While brushing his teeth, tells me he's now going out with Madonna. She's given up all that Kabbalah rubbish. They plan to do a bed-in for peace. But Karl, hasn't that been done? He pops another can, takes no notice. Do you have any pickled onions? He says, beard twitching in anticipation. Later we stroll through the park. He observes there were more robins in his time. Everything was redder back then. Soon we're ensconced in a snug at the local. Carl lights a pipe, but I tell him it's banned. Banned? Whatever happened to England's green and pleasant land? It's smoke-free now, I say. He nods sagely. Smoke-free, eh? But it's not free. It's not really free, is it? In Cuba, I went to a place called Guadalajara, and I bought a painting in the market from a painter called Ovidio Pena, which cost me about 5 pesos. And I think the least I can do is reward Ovidio by making his name known to some more people outside of Cuba, and also talk about how he works. It's all from my imagination, says this gentle, smiling man, showing his canvases, pastels on recycled paper, oils on lino offcuts. We see what he means. Elsewhere, the painters duplicate 50s American cars, behatted guitar players, sultry ladies, palm-fringed beach scenes. I select a picture, oil on floor covering, a vulture with a female body, rich daubs of green and blue and burgundy, perched threateningly on a branch. Painstakingly he signs it bottom left, in the neat script of a master. For 5 pesos I have an original Ovidio Pena, all from his imagination. I imagine him in his shack somewhere, crowded with paper, offcuts and paint, children, a wife and chickens, a dog scratching at his heel, endeavouring to find a space to create art. These butterflies, abstracts, masks, expressions of the spirit of a people. If I close my eyes now, I am back in that market. I can see the paintings spread out on a table, all the colours radiant, iridescent, under a Cuban palm-fringed sun. Flesh. Flesh, it's the best. Lots of it, nearness of flesh, warm huggy flesh, kissy flesh, electric fire hot climb into bed next to flesh, bouncy first thing in the morning flesh, flesh jittering in kitchen over cup of late for work coffee, flesh busying through day, matter of fact flesh, efficient flesh, Wednesday lunchtime, okay flesh, so. Then flesh between tons of flesh on jam-packed flesh trucks, sweating bad-tempered impatient flesh, flopping in front of telly, feet up flesh, longing for other half flesh to appear in doorway, offer soothing cuppa. Oh, great flesh, kissy flesh, hold on tight to flesh, make everything all right again, flesh, pink flesh, black flesh, lazy flesh, coming out of shower smelling clean flesh. Don't your flesh and my flesh ever part? I want to dance naked with you till the ashes. This is my, thank you, my last poem tonight, and it's a poem about jealousy, but it's also appropriate given the weather that's in it today. It's called a raincoat. Once I had a raincoat I loved. It weathered storms, sleet, derision, staggered home drunkenly from parties with the moon in its arms singing. A strong raincoat, belted and epauletted and grimed, with character and confidence in its ankle-length swagger, its swishing belt and buttons that chimed. Together we shivered in cinema queues, forgot our own names on bed-sit floors, had countless arguments in smoke-filled bars, made up for at midnight behind closed doors. A warm raincoat, belted and epauletted and grimed, with character and confidence in its ankle-length swagger, its swishing belt and buttons that chimed. But raincoats, like people, are human, and one day its arms dislocated, its buttons crestfallen, its storm-battered body took flight, crying, "You tricked me, you fooled me, I hate you, I saw you with that anorak last night." I'd like to welcome Frances White back to the stage. More applause.
Oh, yes.